My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And it's time for the greatest news segment that ever has been brought to you. We're kidding, of course. This is the Newsnas, where we just bring you a few news stories since the last time we did the Newsnas that we found interesting or relevant. The last time we did Newsnas was the beginning of March. So it's been a while. For anyone like new to this is not like a regular thing that we do all the time. So we won't be giving you all the news. So if like there's a news thing that you think is really important that we don't get to, this is just a personal preference sort of news. We're just doing stuff that we found interesting for y'all, you know? And it's not exhaustive, but we're here just to have a good time and to talk about some news things that we found interesting. Okay? We're not a serious news organization. We're a bunch of ladies.
Journalism.
No, there's no journalism happening here. This is op-ed at best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, considering none of us fluently speak Korean or anything, like, you know, like, this is, this is
really just, like, through the grapevine stuff. Like, stuff we saw. We're like, okay. And starting us off, Sky, just doing it quick. She's going to give us the military updates for all y'all first becoming military wives. It's not that bad. Don't worry about it.
And if we miss somebody, it is not because we do not love them. We can only
we're just
see what
dumb.
we see, especially when we're covering this many months. I will say, we typically do this. We do a Newsnas episode usually like every 3-ish months.
Mm-hmm.
It's been much longer this time.
It's just been
so
you know.
It's been interesting looking back. So NCT's Taeyong, he enlisted in the Navy in March.
Mm-hmm.
Fix's Hyuk, he enlisted in April. Icon's Chanwoo, he enlisted in May, and then Bobby enlisted in June. 17 Jonghan, he enlisted in September.
Mm-hmm.
Woods enlisted. And then we're gonna get to discharges. That's always like the fun.
We bring you down, then we bring you back up. You know?
So In Flying's Chahan returned, yay! Monsta X's Minhyuk, he just returned, like,
literally today.
Recording day, essentially.
Yeah.
Wonho is back after 85 years.
After a million years. Why was Wonho's, like, enlistment the longest thing we've ever experienced? Like, some of them, they seem to go so quick. But Wonho, he was gone for years.
he was gone for a long time. Jin from BTS returned.
Mm-hmm.
Jaehyun from SF9 was discharged. Sungsik from Victon, he was discharged as well. So, again, there were many more. But this was us trying to quickly be like, okay, who?
Us at the top of our heads, like, who do we remember was supposed to come back? And who did come back? Who was it? We've also, our next section that I'll be taking care of is various K-pop group and member changes. This is another one where there's always something going on, you know?
Oh, man.
So 7 of the Kepler members extended their contracts from the original project group, which was from Girls Planet, the Mnet show. 2 members, Mishiro and Yaseo, left the group to join the new group, Maiden, which just debuted last month on the 3rd. In ATBO, sometimes the acronym names, how they're supposed to be pronounced, I'm not the expert. Don't come for me. Sukrakwan left in May, so they're going to continue with 6 members as versus 7. Just this week, Demon's Joe left the group, which is a real bummer. He was my favorite member, but hopefully it was for his health, so hopefully his health improves. So they're going to continue as 5 members. Hyunsung of Unite also left, and they will continue as 8 members. And this just keeps going. Hwarang of Tempest, he left as well. And CIX's Bae Jinyoung left the group, and they will continue as 4 members. Now for the sad notes. We had a string of disbandments. Mireille disbanded. V-Romance disbanded. That was real recent.
Mm-hmm.
Wacky Mikey.
Mikey Mikey?
Mikey Mikey, they disbanded. Sad. And then King Daniel left Connect, his own agency, and went to ARA, and just got his first music show win, which is great. And finally, this is another disbandment, but it's like, I'm going to call it a sort of like rebirth, as it were. In sad news, Pink Fantasy disbanded. If you didn't listen to them, you missed out. They were good.
Go listen.
Go listen to Pink Fantasy. Like, their music, when a group disbands, their music doesn't get deleted off the internet. You can still go listen to it.
You can
it's
still
fine.
go check it out.
But 3 of the members and 2 members of TMC, a little duet close to my heart by how, like, you know how, like, on Twitter, they're always, like, calling about Nugu groups, like, as though it's a bad thing. TMC, that is a Nugu group to end all Nugu group. Like, when I tell you, like, you know, like when a group posts on Twitter, they'll get like thousands of likes. Okay, it's me and 30 other people liking TMC stuff. Okay, I'm like, yeah, fellas, let's go. So the 2 members of TMC and 3 members of Pink Fantasy are creating a new co-ed group called To the 6Y. And apparently it's going to very heavily focus on queer culture, which, if you've seen TMC's music videos, that's not that much of a surprise. they already maybe were doing that. But anyway, there's no like debut date yet, but fingers crossed it comes soon, because listen, I can only like so many selfies and be like, come on, fellas, I love your stuff, please. I love TMC. I love TMC. Go listen to TMC. Go stream Pew Pew Pew. It's good. It's funny. It's a good music video.
Okay, and in marriage news, lots of marriages, lots of weddings. Secret, Song Ji-eun got married to YouTuber and disability rights activist Parkway. The photographs were gorgeous. So good.
The
like
photos were so good.
Beautiful. What was it? I saw the tweet was like, you swan, he swan. It's like they took the little meme and they were
you pretty, he pretty, you swan, he swan. Yeah. I love that meme.
For Stella, Kang Hyung-ho married Busan NBC weathercaster Jung Min-kyung in April.
Good for them.
Actress Kim Bo-ra married film director Jo Ba-run after a 3-year relationship. That's fun. Bo-ra and Jo Ba. I like that.
I like when names have a nice flow to them, you know, like little matching names.
Yeah. Super Junior's Royewook married former Tahiti member Ari in May. Actor Ma Dong-suk had a wedding on May 25th with Ye Jung-hwa. They were legally married back in like 2021. And
I love that for them.
No,
they were just like playing a long con on everyone. Like, good for them.
Yeah. Ash Island and Chan Mina got married and are having a kid. So
congratulations.
Good for that. Actor Moon Tae-yu is getting married to a non-celebrity, and actress Jo Boa is going to be getting married to a non-celebrity. I assume a different non-celebrity in October.
Well, listen, we don't judge. You know, like, live your life, but
there's just one non-celebrity in Korea running around marrying everybody.
That everyone marries.
It's like his actual name or something. You know?
There's just one giant polycule.
The non-celebrity person.
Yeah.
So on to other news. I'm going to kind of pick something that does connect to kind of the same vibe as some of this. So a couple of like fandom name announcements. I always think that's fun to look at like a couple of fandom names. So Mamamoo Hwasa is also a solo artist. If you didn't know that, please go be aware of that.
Please
go become aware that she is a solo artist too. So Mamamoo's fandom is called Moomoo's, just for the record, but they did come up with a fandom name for just Hwasa. and they announced that it's Twits. It's named
Love
after her debut solo
You know what?
song, Twit. And I think
Perfect.
that is awesome.
Perfect.
That's great.
Absolutely perfect.
And I imagine she loves that. Like, that just, it makes, like, yes, her
Yeah.
vibe. So Kong Daniel, which we just talked about
He's
him.
been going
but-
through it, okay?
He's been
had a
doing things,
rough
okay?
year, okay?
But it's looking up, because, like, he got his
First show win. He's at a new
Music-
company. Yeah.
So he used to have a different fan club name, but which was Danity, and so now it's going to be Flowed, Flowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Is it Flowed or Flowdy?
The formal announcement says it means the people who are so focused on Kong Daniel that they forget the flow of time. The people who love the flow, quote unquote, that Kong Daniel creates. Flowed, which is pronounced Flowdy, right, is a combination of the English word flow and then D for Daniel.
Listen,
So,
I'm
like-
rarely correct on these. I'm glad I was. I'm finally picking up, like, I'm finally figuring it out.
Figured out the vibe of this one at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
yes.
that kind of matches what we were talking about.
So, I have done a little thing recently in the last Newsnas episodes where I've been keeping us all abreast of a very important news story in Natalia's Thai love corner. And it was this has been going on for like 2 years, I think, that I've been doing this, where I've been following the possible relationship between two BL actors, Mew Supposite and Tulpacorn. And I'm here to tell you that they gave up on the will they, won't they, and they will, baby. All right. I know it's been a couple months, but it was after we did our episode. They're together for real. They're talking about living together, getting married, retiring to Canada. Their love is real, everyone. They post hilariously cute TikToks. And
this makes Natalia sound so like unhinged about it, but like
no, listen, I don't really get absorbed in celebrity couples.
Yeah,
okay,
usually,
I need people to know this, that I actually don't. I'm not like a celebrity couple carer. Okay, I'm just like, oh, good for them or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I've been so invested. I just love how open they were being while refusing to admit anything. It made me laugh heartily, but they have now admitted everything.
Because mostly you always said you wanted to know where to send the wedding gift.
Yeah, exactly.
But they wouldn't confirm for you. So
they wouldn't confirm. But like, listen. And because the same-sex marriage bill has received royal assent and will take like the new law. So basically, like, the king has to sign all the laws into, like, give it royal assent, and it's like 120 days after he does that, it becomes a law. So basically in January 2025, those gay marriages do be starting. So I'm just like,
in Thailand.
In Thailand specifically. So I will be watching. I know that Porsche Arm, they're doing, like, they've been together for like a decade, so they're definitely going to be doing that. But I'll be keeping my eyes abreast of the situation for any juicy updates in the future. But I think for now, we can retire Natalia's Mutal corner because they done confirmed. Which makes me so happy. Listen, I don't know why. There's just something about the two of them that I'm just like, I just want them to be happy together. Is that a crime?
I mean,
you know?
we love Tull. We've always loved Tull. I just want him to be a happy little bean.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And listen, and as we all know, well, as people who've been on this, listening to this podcast for a long time know, I have like a bit of a weird relationship with Mew's acting roles, where like, he often plays like real shitty guys, but like, I like Tharn type, okay? Okay? Is it a good show? No, okay? Is he kind of like not a good guy, like when you really think about it? Yes, in the show, but it's a fictional show. We can like, inappropriate fiction. It's fine. We don't have to morally kowtow to fiction. It's okay. I can like this sort of red flag show. It's fine. I really liked his zombie movie. Everyone should go watch The Package. It was really good. Anyway.
Good.
But anyway, Mutal Real, married couple, going on family vacations together. Perfect. So anyway, that's enough about that. We're going to retire the corner for now, okay?
Until
the
they
corner is retired.
in the marriage listing.
Until I get their
of the
wedding
news.
invitation in the mail, I'm retiring the Mutal corner of the Newsnas. And we've had a good time, okay? We've had a good run here. All right, Amanda, what else you got? What other interesting things?
In stories about things that should have happened a million years ago and were a big deal, but like really shouldn't have been, Highlight, formerly known as Beast, was given back the right to use the name Beast by Cube, their former company. So, yay.
But like, Highlight's a better name, though. Like, I'm gonna be real. Highlight for their
they've
vibe.
announced that they're still planning to be Highlight, and they're gonna.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice that they have the right to
their
use
own
that
work.
Former trademark. And similarly, YG has transferred the rights to the trademarks for GD and G Dragon to G Dragon, so he may use his trademark names for his work.
Like, here's the thing about this. What the fuck were they, like, who else, like, were
what
they
were you
gonna
do with it?
Yeah, were they gonna debut someone else under G-Dragon? No, they weren't, okay? Like, stop this. Like absolute nonsense.
Are we all gonna stop calling G-Dragon because YG says we can't? No. So, like, sorry. But, yeah.
That's foolishness. But I'm glad that they've transferred it, because it was foolishness to begin with.
Exactly.
It was. So I'm going to give a little. So since Jessie is not with us tonight and she's busy working, I want to give just a little shout out because this would be a Jessie thing. Day 6, her band Day 6, got a perfect all kill on the music charts. Which, if you don't know what that is, that's okay. It sounds a little violent. If you don't know what that is, what it is they hit number 1 on. It's very difficult to do. Okay, I don't want to get into all the weeds of that, but very, very difficult. But they're the first band in, I think, 6 years. Busker Busker was the last one that did an all kill, a band that did an all kill on the charts. Okay. And so Day 6, it's their first chart all kill. That is awesome. They're also, I'm not going to sit here and list all of the Day 6 songs that are recharting. A lot of their older songs are recharting. They got pretty high at some point. Some of them are still like, oh, last week this wouldn't be hit like 98 on whatever chart, like, so they're having a big resurgence. Also EJ, I do want to say, like, Jay, formerly of Day 6, he's also been touring. He's been opening like for Imagine Dragons, like that's huge, and he released an album, like, and it's amazing. Jessie did a blog post about it. Go check it out on her website, KDrama.com. So, but Day 6 is having great success, and
great success.
Jay
Love
over
that
there in
them.
the US. So, like, it's great. It's really happy times, and it's really lovely to see, because as far as Day 6, they're all back from the military somewhat recently, kind of, handful of months. So, like, yay.
Recently-ish.
But it's been a rough road. So it's good that people are finding their happiness and their success, and we're really happy for them. And Jessie is super proud. So I just wanted to give a little shout out about that.
So I sort of like use Newsnas to just talk about things I like that just so happen to have like news things attached to them. And one thing that I'm like currently really obsessed with is the band Zero Base One. or ZB1, which was it's a project band, so it was formed on like a survival show, and it's only going to be around for like 2 years unless they like renew or move to a company together, whatever. They're also doing very, like, people really like them a lot. I never actually watched Boys Planet because I do not like survival shows, but I am obsessed with Zero Base One. Okay, I love Zero Base One. It's so good, and I have a favorite member of Zero Base One, and that member is Ricky. Okay, young and rich, love Ricky. Unfortunately, it seems like the company Wake One, where ZB1 is at, does not like Ricky. So there's been like an ongoing sort of weird, it's like kind of obvious that, listen, there's just little things that are happening that get the old, like people protesting that they're mistreating him at the company, which is like, listen, we know they are because it's an entertainment company. Of course they're mistreating their artists. But like things like, they would forget to bring his passport when they're going traveling. And so he couldn't get on the plane with the rest of the band. Or they would forget to get him a visa to go, like they did, like, because he's Chinese. Like, he's not Korean. And so that's like where like they're like, oh, maybe it's because he's Chinese that they're treating him like this. But anyway, finally Wake One has gone slightly too far. So a Japanese Ricky fan group raised money to make him custom in-ear monitors. Now, in-ear monitors are not cheap. Okay, we're talking thousands of dollars to get these custom made for him as like a birthday present type situation. They then were in contact with employees at Wake One and arranged a specific time for the president of this Japanese fan club to fly to Korea with these in-ears and deliver them by hand to an employee of Wake One. This isn't like a say-sang thing. Like, this was like literally like a business transaction.
Yeah, like you have to get authorized to do these things. There's a process. So it's like, they went through the process.
Yeah, they raised money. They went through the process. They had like a meeting to deliver these in-ears. And then Wake One lost, air quotes, the in-ears. They said that they lost them with poor gift management. Except that, like, these were just randomly shipped there. They were hand-delivered to an employee at the company. Wow. And so, instead of just being like, oh, okay, the fan club is suing Wake One.
Nice.
Because they were like, no, this is like a large purchase, like thousands of dollars, and this is more than just like accidentally misplacing something. Like, this seemed like there's no way, after we hand deliver them to an employee, that you like put them in a corner and forgot them. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. So anyway, they're looking to sue in small claims court because this was a lot of people, submitted money to like buy him some, and they were really nice looking too. Like, they were some nice looking in-ears. So anyway, hopefully, I love to see an entertainment company join the find out section of the fuck around that they've been doing. So I applaud you, Japanese fan club. That's right. Do it. Stick up for Ricky, okay? I imagine that being Korean is his third language. Like, I imagine this is probably very frustrating for him because as much as we don't want to admit it, sometimes xenophobia is really bad. Like, so anyway, I was like, China and Japan uniting to get mad about something. My goodness!
Wow.
Don't be a K-pop boy.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, you don't want to fuck with Ricky stans, okay? Like, people who love Ricky love Ricky. Like, I don't know what it is. But he's magnetic. There's something about him.
In general, Wake One to the entire group has been
terrible.
Not marvelous.
Yeah. Yeah. So, listen, I hope they get what's coming to them. Is all I gotta say.
In completely unrelated to film or K-pop news, but I thought this was really interesting. The National Theatre of Korea this summer produced an adaptation of the Shakespeare play Macbeth, which was performed in sign language by 6 deaf actors.
Ooh.
They used like a subtitling like they do in some theaters for opera and stuff like that now.
Mm-hmm.
So they had subtitling, but also they had 4 pansori singers who narrated. They sang a narration in
That's
traditional
really cool.
Korean style through it. It was a modern adaptation, so it's like set in a butcher shop and all this stuff.
Okay.
And then they traveled to, like they ran for about 2 weeks in Seoul, and then they traveled to France to take part in the what was it called? In the International Sign Language Arts Festival. So to take that, and I thought that was such a cool way to make something that is accessible to everybody. Like by adding the music and making it uniquely Korean as well, right? Like
I feel like Macbeth as a play is like the plot of it can be like adapted in just if your country had aristocrats or nobility, you can make a Macbeth like the exact same plot of Macbeth, but in your own country's historical context. Like it's like, oh, no nobleman murdering another nobleman, and maybe some witches. Like, yeah, that's a universal situation. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got that going on somewhere. But yeah, no, that's really cool. That's like actually really cool. I hope they start doing like more of that sort of thing.
Well, and especially when you do an adaptation of something that people know or that is something they could read ahead of time or whatever. Yeah. So even if you go and you're like, I'm not catching everything because I don't speak sign language or whatever, you could just enjoy the experience and like know the story in general. So stick with it, right? I think that's really cool.
So I'm gonna call back to the Olympics. So
it's been this long, friends.
Well, so as far as an Olympic silver medalist, the Korean Olympic silver medalist sharpshooter. So if you think back, like who was the really cool sharpshooter that we all saw?
Listen, we had a lot of fun with the Olympic shooters this year. You know,
we did.
So the Korean silver medalist sharpshooter Kim Yi-ji. Like, yes, it's the one you're thinking of with the cool, like, the eye thing.
The sci-fi
cool
situation.
And how she was super chill and everyone was like, and she's like this mom that also has like a little thing from her kid. Like, you know, awesome, right? Yeah. She landed an acting role in the movie Crush. And yes, she plays an assassin.
Hell yeah, brother.
That is amazing. Evidently, like, it's a part of a spin-off of a short film series. It's this global film project. There's a lot of like details connected to it, but essentially all the hype that she got for being cool in the Olympics caught the eye.
Like keep being cool. That's all you need to do.
It caught the eye of like, you know, the producer, creator, whatever, and they were like, let's get her in on this. Nice. And you know, people are joking about her being an assassin. Let's make her one. Like, and so there's already been a little bit of I think it was on social media, and it was an Indian actress, I believe, that like was sharing a thing. So like it's this it's this global project, and it seems really cool. But so keep an eye out. But I thought you love it with like almost funny haha joke. She would make a really cool assassin. It's like then she gets to play an assassin. Like good for her. Like that's great. I think it's fun.
That's really fun. I'm apparently like really into corporate entertainment, corporate malfeasance. This Newsnas, because I got another story of shenaniganery that's been going on, and oh no, SM pulling some bullshit. Are we surprised?
Shocking.
We are not. Okay. So there's a little group, you might have never heard of them. They're called EXO. So they use, some of them are still at SM, but many of them have parted ways with the SM company. And 3 of those, Baekhyun, Jimin, and Chen, started a new company. Well, Baekhyun started the new company and brought Jimin and Chen with him because they, for anyone who is not familiar with the EXO universe, have a subunit called CBX. Like, they were already a very popular subunit with multiple albums, like very popular subunit, CBX. And so they have a new company that Baekhyun started called INB 100. So they're like a new agency, and they had a contract deal with SM. So previously, this is not their first lawsuit against SM.
No.
There was a previous lawsuit when they first left that SM tried to pull some shit, and then apparently Baekhyun did invest in a good lawyer. Because the lawyer was like, no, we're not doing this. But anyway, they're back at it because, shocker, SM has decided not to pay them the money that they're owed. So they're withholding payment for a contract renewal bonus to use, because CBX will still be, like, performing as a member of EXO, like, contracted under SM. Okay, so, like, it's, like,
Right.
sort of really complicated when members leave. They're at their own agency for their, like, solo things, but then they will still return as, like, under SM or their original parent company as a distributor for, like, the group name. So, like, for example, when 2 p.m. comes and, like, does, like, a 2 p.m. album every 5 years or so, they're still under like, no one in 2 p.m., I don't think, is still at JYP.
I don't remember.
Jesse would know the answer to this.
Jesse would immediately know.
She's not here.
She's yelling at us right now.
But anyway, most of them, if not all, are no longer at JYP. But 2 p.m. is technically still a JYP group. So this is the same thing with EXO happening. But anyway, so they were asking for a 10% of the CBX activities, but their contract says that SM is only entitled to 5.5%. So they've been refusing to pay them because they don't want to hold to the contract that they signed. And CBX's lawyer is like, no, we're not doing this. And also, Baekhyun just came back and, like, his album is doing fucking numbers. Okay? Like, people went nuts for Pineapple Slice, all right? Like, so, listen, I don't think SM has the upper hand that they think they have in this. Because I don't think any of these 3 gentlemen are as desperate as SM seems to believe they are.
Like, I mean, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but it sounds like they're not paying them, like, the 90% either. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, they're not giving them anything.
Of the money.
And you're like, okay, it would be one thing if you gave them 90% and you were just haggling over that extra 4.5%. But to not give the 90% that you 100%
because you're mad. Because you're like pissy that they left you.
That's not how this works.
Well,
all right.
And also, it's not like this is the first scuffle between
like
in this situation, you know?
Like, Baekhyun won the last one too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, like, there's no way SM comes out on top here.
No.
Like, they signed a contract. They're not adhering to the contract. It was a fair contract. They would have been, or they wouldn't have signed it. They have a bigger legal team than Baekhyun does, because it's just him and his 2 buddies at his company. Like, get it to SM. Get it together.
That's a big ask, though, Natalia.
Well, like, listen,
they've had how many years to get it together, and they haven't done it yet.
They're so fucking petty. Like, I just think of the time where Taemin won a taxpayer award at the same time that SM was in trouble for not paying their taxes, and then SM tried to, like, publicize his taxpayer award as though, like, that reflected on them, and he was like, no. No, I'm sorry.
Well, like,
pay your taxes, SM.
But, like,
try.
Taemin in his own company now, like, you know, doing all this stuff, and then everyone's realizing, oh, aesthetically, it's always been, like...
He brought his
Taemin.
creative team with him. Like,
it's been him and his team. Like, it's been them the whole time.
It's almost like these companies profit off of the creative output of others and don't actually have a creative core of their own.
Oh,
bold words being said. Like, listen, I will say, like, SM, like, they do have a talent in, like, training and scouting excellent singers. Like, the vocals at SM, top notch. But they also treat their people who they're like shit. So,
yeah.
you know, as I said, I do enjoy a good find out, like, creeping ever closer to someone who's been fucking around, you know?
For people who like a little drama behind the drama, the Chinese story Three Body Problem was turned into a drama for Netflix. The billionaire executive producer who bought the rights to Three Body Problem, he hired this lawyer to be the CEO of the company or production team or whatever. About, I don't know what the timeline was. At some point, he basically didn't exactly get fired, but like got his pay massively cut because the executive producer was like, listen, I hired you to do a job. I gave you this big pay and you're not doing anything. I'm not going to pay you when you're not doing the job I paid you for. So this CEO who was a lawyer, really pissed off about it, poisoned the executive producer with like 3 different kinds of poison, and was caught. The man was found.
You didn't hear
and they couldn't have saved him, but this guy refused to tell them what he used. So they couldn't even like do anything. The guy died, and like 3 days after Three Body Problem premiered on Netflix, the CEO lawyer was sentenced to death for the murder of his boss. Like,
the fact that you didn't get wind of any of this.
I've been like really out of the loop. I've had like a really busy like 6 months. What?
Right?
Huh?
Yeah. So
see, I didn't know the details, but I knew the vague strokes of like, oh, it's bad.
I cannot wait for the true crime documentary about this one.
And I'm
like,
curious
what?
because I thought I haven't watched the Three Body Problem yet, but I kind of thought that maybe it had been set up that it would have like a sequel series, like another season.
It felt like it, I think, but like,
yeah, because I think the way the book is written, people were like, well, there's a lot that's not covered, right? So
yeah,
people were expecting, but now like the guy in charge is gone, and
that's crazy.
There's a lot going on there. So if you really enjoyed it,
that's crazy.
The second season might not happen. I don't know, but yeah, that is some wild drama behind the scenes of a drama.
That's friggin' wild. That's literally crazy.
And see, typically it's really easy to point at these platforms for like not Netflix does this, Amazon does this, as far as they're not good about marketing things that they should be marketing better. So Three Body Problem is an example of something that I would usually pointed to going huge book bestseller, like big deal.
Like there's like a really popular Chinese version of it too that came out. I think it's on Viki. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
So typically I would be going, yeah, you should have marketed this more, which they objectively should have, but then this thing happens, so then I can't say much about that
maybe it gets harder to market something when you're like, yikes.
No, see, it doesn't, because then, as I said, it's on Netflix. Netflix makes the true crime documentary to go with it, and then it's a package. Listen,
that's what season 2 is going to be. The true crime drama.
Is that tasteless? Yes, but would Netflix do it? Absolutely.
They would.
For sure they would.
Absolutely they would. Are you kidding me? Taste? Not a thing at Netflix. Crazy.
Speaking of taste, I'm gonna just go with this because we might as well. Cereal. We're gonna talk about cereal.
Okay. Nice. All right. What a fire segue.
Yeah.
Hey Ayo.
So back in May, I kind of knew of this a little. I didn't know it was this specific though, and it once I saw like the specifics of it, I found it charming. Back in May, TXT, they had their US cereal box debut. Hello. General Mills, they released 6 different limited edition TXT boxes, and it was kind of as a surprise. Like, I think people kind of didn't know ahead of time. They kind of just started like filtering it on the shelves, and people were like, is this a like real thing, or are people being creepy and just putting this on the shelf? Like, what's going on? And then, according to, the General Mills Twitter and then later official announcements, it's like, yep, this is a for realsies thing. Each of the 5 members appearing on one of the brand's popular cereals. So Subin was on Trix, Yojin was on Cookie Crisp, Yomungu was on Lucky Charms, Taeyun was on Honey Nut Cheerios, and Hyun Kai was on Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Makes you wonder if they were like allowed to pick or not. Probably not.
Probably
because
not.
that's K-pop for you.
This is their government assigned cereal flavor.
What does it say about you when you get assigned a certain cereal? But in addition to the 5 individual boxes, there was a special Reese's Puffs box with the entire group.
How fun. How fun.
I love that.
There was a part of my soul back when I was a kid. There were some limited edition Star Wars, not original Star Wars, the prequel Star Wars. I'm not that old.
You're not that old. I'm that old.
But I liked my Star Wars cereal a lot. So like this, it harkened back to that for me. But it seemed really cute. I do kind of remember, the reason I kind of vaguely knew about it is I had seen people being really pumped about cereal and TXT, and that's really all I kind of knew because I was busy.
You're like, what is this?
But whenever I saw like, oh, they had like certain individuals on certain types of cereal, like that kind of cracks me up. So there you go.
That's very, you know what? For all that hype gets up to some nonsense.
Yeah,
once in a while, they do something genuinely funny. And this is genuinely funny. Like, this is a genuinely funny sponsorship.
I
it's not the
appreciate
funniest one, but it's
K-pop levity when it comes to marketing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, these are the things that I find charming just because it actually also makes it more accessible. Because, like, let's say you're a preteen
you can't afford
TXT. You can't necessarily afford a $30 album.
You can't afford $5 cereal and then cut
you
out
can
the
maybe convince your mom to let you get the Reese's Puffs that you liked anyway.
Yeah.
So
and then make
like,
a little collage,
Yeah.
I was a big collager as a teen, as a youth.
Yeah, me too, man.
Like I would, like when you went to the theater, they used to have like the free entertainment magazines.
Yep.
Yeah. I would collage the shit out of those.
I would find pictures online.
Oh, me too. My printer was hooting up a storm. Okay, like
I would put it on cardboard and put it as like kind of the like dashboard of my Trapper Keeper. Like it was a big thing.
No, my thing is, I was really obsessed with the show Roswell, not the one that they remade, the original that had Brendan Fair in it. Anyway, there was like this fan site called the Crashdown Cafe. I remember this so distinctly, and they would upload like still caps of almost every frame of every episode. And I would download those and print them. And then on my door frame of my bedroom, I had taped, like, it was like an endless, like, of, like, my favorite scenes of the show were taped, like, on my door frame.
Would you, like, move over your door frame and try to, like...
I didn't, they were from different episodes. I would find my favorite scenes of, like, various episodes.
Okay.
She printed them all off and made a flip book so she could watch every episode.
No, I had them on VHS because we didn't have cable or satellite, but my friend up the street had satellite, so I would give her a VHS on the bus, and she would tape Dark Angel and Roswell because they came on one after the other, and then she would deliver them back to me so I could watch them. We had a whole system,
But like, I do love like more accessible random stuff because like
definitely.
Like, I mean, if you're a
obviously we can see the digital pictures. Like, I'm sure kids still like print off pictures to make collages and things like that.
Absolutely,
like cereal boxes, it still feels more accessible than. Not everyone lives near a K-pop store, And not, not everyone is allowed to buy a ton of albums or anything.
You know what?
So.
Another fun story of I would have been this kid going in and getting those boxes. Because when Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out, and I was a kid at the time, and I was a huge Star Wars fan, and they had the Pepsi, like, Star Wars kids with all the kids. I spent a summer going to every convenience store looking for new cans. I still have them in my childhood bedroom. There's still a giant collection of
Are
these
they unopened?
Cans. No, I opened them and like rinsed them out and stuff.
Some people don't even open them.
I wasn't true. I didn't care about the resale value. I was just a little bit of a dragon on my hoard, Like I think I almost had the whole set. Like it was, and like my dad would give me like $10 because at the time $10 could get you many a can. They were like 75 cents. Okay, like this was. Listen, I'm old. Back when I was in middle school and the Phantom Menace. I was in middle school. Soda was actually affordable. So like it's nice that like these things still exist for like.
Probably $10. A box of cereal for $10.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would have been all over that shit. Also,
it's just fun to see it at the grocery store.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's fun. Listen, it's not as fun as Astro, the official sponsors of a sanitary pad company, but like, it's still pretty fun, Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
Yes.
You could get photo cards in your pads. Incredible marketing. They need to bring that back.
And that's the type of marketing that I think is really fun. Or like, for instance, like Chanu, like he's a spokesperson for like a bazillion things, but one of them Subway. And so usually I try to not care about getting all this stuff. But I was like, okay, the Subway thing, that's like an in-joke with all the dramas. Like, that cracks me up. I have to get a keychain. Like that's just
how it goes, I'm apparently really in the fuck around find out news. This time. A little theme has emerged with Natalia. Because finally, the U.S. Justice Department has decided to do something good. Amongst all the terrible things they do, they finally realized, hey, I think Ticketmaster and Live Nation might have a monopoly, which is like illegal. It's like the antitrust lawsuits. I think that they've been jacking ticket prices. And it's like, I don't think you need an investigation to prove that. You just need to try to go buy a ticket to anything. Like, that's how the investigation could have happened. It's like a lawyer could just sign on to Ticketmaster and attempt to buy a ticket to any show that's remotely popular. So basically they want to break up that monopoly. Hell, yeah. This fucking dynamic pricing bullshit gotta go. Mm-hmm. It's gotta go. When I'm looking at a friggin' 80s concerts and they've got tickets for like $10,000, I'm like, y'all, they better be giving me a lap dance. Right? All 8 of them. Like, enough of it for $10,000, please. Okay? Like, no. Like, I better be getting personally serenaded for that amount of money. I didn't pay that. I paid like $150 for my ticket, but still. And it was a shitty seat, so I'm like, enough with this chaos. Like, all right,
kids, when we tell you that we used to be able to easily go to concerts for like $50,
like $40,
like, and now, like, no, you couldn't get a ticket for $50 to anything. So like it's crazy. A guy was telling me about taking his 2 toddlers to like some whatever, like we used to do like Dora the Explorer or whatever it is these days. And it's going to be like $300-$400 for him to take ridiculous. 2 small children to something like, and it's not like he's sitting on the stage with them. They're not getting up and like shaking hands with the Paw Patrol. They're just going to be there, but it costs that much money. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, I know that I'm like a bit blessed at local shows here where I live because my best friend is the accountant for the biggest show promoter in town, and he hooks me up, but like without that, like no. I couldn't go to anything. I couldn't enjoy any of these things. Not that I go to that many shows, like I truly don't, but like it's actually ludicrous.
And you know what? If it was the artists getting the money, it would be a different situation, right? but we know that the artists are still getting the same amount of money they were getting when we were paying $50. So
because, like listen, like they
no.
they put out a literal, like, the artists will put out, oh, here's our ticket prices, and like for like the sections I sit in, they're usually around $70, which, like, fine, that's fine, whatever. But then when you get onto Ticketmaster, suddenly that $70 ticket is close to $300. And you're like, well, if they're only charging $70 as per the pricing that they posted, and it's more than double the quoted price, and that's not with any VIP, nothing. That's just
and that's if you can get one,
right? Because they're selling them to themselves as scalpers first.
Yeah. So it's
so they can scalp them back to you.
And then they're like, oh, this show's popular. Well, we're going to have surge pricing on fucking Okay, surge pricing on anything is a scam.
I mean, it's illegal if it's groceries. So
yeah, it should be illegal for anything. I want to bring back set prices.
Is that for Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah. Surge pricing is
for
illegal
for
groceries here.
Good for you guys.
Listen, we can bring back set pricing. We don't have to do this anymore. All right? Like, if enough people get pissed about it. But, like, listen, enough
and I think,
shit.
like, I don't know the timeline of this whole thing with the antitrust stuff, but it kind of, I'm going to be real with the way it felt for a few years, like back when I went to a couple of concerts. It seemed easy for the general populace to kind of ignore it when it seemed to mostly affect foreign artists coming in primarily, and then maybe like the super big, the superstar type.
Yeah, like Beyonce or something.
Yeah, like Beyonce and something. So, because then it seemed like all the other normie the normal popular American groups, like it seemed to not affect them quite as much. And so it really feels like at some point it leaked.
It broke containment is what happened. Yeah,
to finally get to them as well, and then it's like, it like you said, it broke containment because we've been screaming about this for a very long time.
It's just some guy who works in the Department of Justice was trying to, like, get Taylor Swift tickets for his kid or something.
And it's like, you know what? Enough of this
screw
bullshit.
This.
Yeah, enough of this. It's like, wait a second. This is illegal.
Somebody should do something. Wait,
it's me. I'm the one in charge of this. No, it's bullshit, and we all know it. But the thing is, like, if you let it get away, like, if you let it get away to the small people who, like, doesn't affect you, it will eventually affect you with all of these things. Any, like, injustice that you allow to exist without you, and it seems like so stupid that, like, ticket prices, but it's like, this is actually indicative of a much larger societal problem, because if they can get, as we were saying, if they can get away with it with tickets, then they can get away with it in Ubers, and no one says anything. Then they can get away with it in plane tickets, and then they can get away with it in groceries eventually. Like, right. So
it's the same thing with, like, okay, let's be real. Like, percentage-wise, K-pop fans, younger gals, right? Like, just broad stroke.
Not necessarily accurate, but it is what the perception.
Right, broad stroke. Yeah. But as far as, like, we're just going to ignore them and we're going to just, take it out on them to, get more money from them because no one's going to notice. And it's like, let's be real, the average teenage girl is already an oppressed group anyway, for a variety of reasons. So how about we don't? And good canary in the coal mine, if it's affecting a teenage girl, it's going to affect everybody eventually. Like, just don't think that it's not going to affect you. It
also,
will.
like, teenage girls don't stay teenage girls.
No.
We grow up and have grown up money, and then we don't want to spend it with you, so.
Women are the ones that drive economy. Like, we're the ones that spend the money. I don't really, like, that's a fact. Go look it up.
That's just a statistical reality.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, we are the ones that typically control the money.
Like, people who look at this and go, well, this is stupid. Like, why are they wasting time on this? And it's because this is actually a litmus test for other things to pull this bullshit. So you actually want them to fail at, like, that you like, not the Justice Department, you want Ticketmaster to fail in this. Because if Ticketmaster fails, that then sets a precedent that other things cannot pull this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you see it all the time where it's like, transport companies during disaster suddenly jacking their prices. What was the one I was reading that, like, Uber, if your phone battery's low, will, like, charge you more to book a trip because you're more desperate. Like, it's this shit.
I hadn't seen that one.
Like, I don't know if it's true. I just was, like, reading a little, like, maybe it was a conspiracy, but that actually feels like something that a tech company would do. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes these things just feel real. But, like, this is an example of things that they could do. And, like, they were, who was it? Was it Walmart? Who was like, we should do surge pricing on groceries. And it's like, what the fuck
like,
are you
it's a
talking
hot
about?
day, we're going to charge more for water.
For
like
ice cream or whatever. Yeah, it's like, fuck off. Set prices. It's a set price, you jackass. You're already charging way more than you should for it.
But even as far as this Ticketmaster thing, another aspect is the fact that, foreign artists, it affecting like foreign, like, that's another.
No one cared because
the xenophobia being involved. Like, there's a lot of things that are like
everything.
Obviously.
Like, the more that you like look into things like this, the more you realize how connected so many aspects of society are that like you wouldn't initially think about. And I feel like more people need to actually think about the interconnections and how they affect their communities, and that it moving outwards from themselves, not just how it affects you, but like how it like sort of ripples out and affects all sorts of people, and then have a little fucking empathy and, get mad at the people doing it.
If you're not in the group that is affected, you still need to question, why is it affecting the group that it's affecting?
Exactly.
Like, what is going on with this, whatever the thing is, because sometimes it's not an easy answer, but you probably need to figure out what's going on, because it's not just it'll eventually affect you, which it will. Like, it will, but everything is connected. Like, intersectionality, it's a thing. Go look it up. That is our big soapbox of the day.
Big one today. Taking it sort of in a completely different direction. Every cloud has a silver lining. Sadly, for Top, what was it called? The Dear Moon Project. He was planning to go to the moon. He's been training for it. He was very excited. Lots of art about it. Lots of posts on Instagram. Very, very excited. Unfortunately, that whole project has been canceled now because SpaceX could not come up with any sort of actual timelines. The Japanese billionaire who was organizing it all was like, no, we're just not doing this indefinitely. Get your crap together. And they didn't. And so he said, well, it's done. So on the plus side, for those of us who love and adore Big Bang's Top, he's not now going to explode in an Elon Musk space shuttle.
It's like, wait, are you telling me that like a thing that Elon Musk is involved in might have been a sham? And it might have been totally inflated by Musk, and he might have just been lying about his own genius? Really?
It was sad, though, I do want to say, because
like he
Top
was very
obviously
excited.
really excited about the artistic aspects, and just like, you want him to have a good time in life. Like, do what you want to do, buddy, but don't go die in space. Like, we would really rather you not go do that. That is the one thing we would rather you not go do. Don't do that. So we're going to be wrapping a few things up here. So 2 Days, One Night, if you don't know what that is, it's a long-running variety show. It's pretty self-explanatory as far as
2 days.
Yeah, we're a group of these people. They go 2 days, 1 night. They go
on a
do a
trip.
variety of things, challenges. It's a whole thing. So you have all these actors and like variety people, comedians, who are part of it. So long-running members of it. Jung-hoon, he's been on it for quite a while, and then Non-woo, like he's been on it for about a year-ish, I think. So they past a couple months they left the, for a variety of reasons. Usually it's just career stuff is quite often what
Yeah.
a lot of these things are.
I think
And
he
so as far
enlisted.
as-
I think that's why he took off.
Oh yeah,
right?
he did enlist. That wasn't.
Yeah.
He was our last time. We talked about
Yeah.
him last
Last time.
um
Previously.
on Newsnas. But so the two new members to the 2D1N, which that's kind of how people talk about it. Actor, who is it, Natalia? Lee Jun.
My sweet child, Lee Jun.
We do have an episode about him. Go check it out. Lee Jun.
I'm obsessed with Lee Jun. Y'all I love Lee Jun. Love
Anytime he pops up. And comedian Cho Se-ho. If you don't know him, yes you do. You've seen him in stuff. He's everywhere. They officially joined in August. So that's super exciting. Really looking forward to what they bring to the group. I'm sure it's going to be really fun. Speaking of fun, Lee Dong-wook is really funny. We all know this. We have an episode about him too.
We love
Go check it out. But okay. Again, if you check out our episode about it, his sense of humor
He's so sardonic.
is dry and so funny. So he's even his relationship with his fans is just very very teasing type stuff. So even they've been wanting a fandom name for forever, and then he eventually begrudgingly kind of maybe halfway gives it's just okay, I guess. So he's gonna have a fan meeting. How does he I'm sure it's a team. I'm sure it's not just him sitting in a corner concocting what this is. But as far as how is it being announced, it's these posters being put up all over missing man, and it looks like let's say that you're looking for an apartment or whatever, and you have to tear off the bottom to get somebody's phone number in order to contact. So that's what these posters look like for the fan meeting. Just missing man. Are you looking for him? See him at this date. Whatever.
They did a video where it was a fake news reporter giving a report on he's been missing for no one's seen the tail of him in so long, and with people putting up missing posters behind him the streets are abuzz. Very cute.
Really anything that comes out of his fandom is just it's all just very funny. So look out for that. I'm sure we'll get funny teasers for it or whatever. He's a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
He is. I'm gonna go with a final finding out segment.
Oh my goodness.
You're how many more of these does she have? But this is, it's
too many.
Too many. There's two. But listen, no, it's good because we like the find out.
We like the find out portion
around.
of the event.
We like the find out portion. It's very rare that I get to say wow, South Korea has passed a really good law. This, let's be real, it's rare that this happens, but they have,
right.
And it's a very sad reason that they've passed this law, but it's actually really good that they did. So they passed the Goo Hara Act into law. And it prevents parents who abuse or abandon their children from inheriting that money after their death. The reason for this is, Goo Hara, who unfortunately did commit suicide, she had left everything to her brother. And then her mom showed up out of nowhere. Her mother, who had abandoned them as children, and managed to get half of her inheritance from the brother. And the brother was how do you even have the audacity to do this? What kind of terrible person are you? And so he sued her, rightfully so, because that's actually incredibly fucked up. And so it's made it all the way and been passed into law that if you are a bad parent, you don't get to benefit from your children's death.
Prior to this, what it looks like, the law in South Korea was that the parent just automatically inherits their child's, regardless of their involvement. If their child dies, they get the money, and it got to this top court, and the top court went, that is not constitutional. You didn't do anything. You don't get the money for
and also it was against the wishes of the person who died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, this doesn't, like, why should someone who abused me get to benefit in my death?
Right.
That's really fucked up. So I'm actually really, really glad that they passed this, because I think this is actually going to be relief for a lot of people. Like, imagine if you were like abandoned by your parents, and then you raised your younger sibling, and then you died, and then and left everything to your younger sibling, but then your parents show out of nowhere and take it all. Like, that wouldn't, you know,
No.
I would come back from the dead and haunt their asses. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even believe in the afterlife, and I'm coming back from it. You know what I mean? So I'm really glad that happened. We love a good find out segment. Yeah. All right, Amanda, what's the final thing you want to let the people know about?
You know what? Let's end on another good day in the news. In the legal courts, the Korean top court upheld a ruling that same-sex couples are entitled to full benefits that heterosexual couples would receive from their employers. So,
hell yeah!
You know, there's no marriage equality yet, but they're taking a step.
It's a step.
They're getting.
You know, I like. You know, it's really nice that like all of these steps are happening. Like, you look in like Japan, where it's not even the government doing it. It's like companies are deciding, yeah, your same-sex partner can be on our insurance, or can get your, you know, like life insurance and stuff. Like, I think Nintendo was the first company that did that. And then all these other companies are now following suit. And it's like really nice, because same-sex couples deserve legal protections. And I know Sky and I often go on little rants about why these things are important, but just know that they're important, okay? Like, especially if you don't have marriage equality, that can really fuck up a lot of things for like long-term couples who aren't married.
Well, and even, I mean, little bonus rant from me, it does also, kind of like we were just talking about with inheritance and all these things, it doesn't always have to just be, oh, your romantic partner. You should be able to take care of who you want to take care of in whatever capacity you want. Like, if you want to share property a certain way with somebody for whatever reason, you should be able to do that.
Yeah, like if two friends like want to live together and have a house and be in like a platonic partnership together, that shouldn't, for some reason, just it's really frustrating to me how somehow like a romantic, you know, partnership is seen as above all other types of relationships, when that's like not the case. Like, there's absolutely no reason why two friends can't live together, and they should be entitled to the same sort of like legal, like, if you live with your best friend for 30 years, but then, you know, your friend dies or gets hospitalized, and somehow you're not allowed to go be with them in the hospital because you're not related to them. Like, this is nonsense. So I feel like, you know, laws need to really catch up to allow people to like designate like partnerships and designate like relationships that aren't just marriage together.
Because there's a lot of aspects, you know, it's just like biological family isn't always the one thing that drives how you want your stuff to go. It can be like, chosen family. It can be romantic partnerships. It can be multiple romantic partnerships. It can be a lot of different stuff that not only does everyone's family look different, but everyone's life is just drastically different with what needs to be happening with property, safety like this, you know, insurance, well, like, all this stuff.
It's like literally Jeff Satter just made a movie, Paradise of Thorns, that the plot is he and his husband, before gay marriage is legal, it's still not in law yet in Thailand, own a farm together. And then his partner dies. And then he discovers that everything was in his partner's name, and his partner's mother inherits it all instead of him. But they had been living together for years, and this was both of their work. And then this woman who he doesn't know is coming in to like steal it all. And it's like, there's many stories that like, you know, would come out like before gay marriage was legalized in North America, where there was like, you know, you would hear stories of like these long-term gay couples who like one of them would get sick, and then their family that he hasn't spoken to in 20 years because they disowned him for being gay show up and his partner's not allowed to come see him, not allowed to go to the funeral, not allowed to do all this because they're family. But like, he hasn't spoken to these people because they hated that he was gay.
Well, like,
or,
in
like,
Japan, it was extremely common for like same-sex couples, like the older man, to legally adopt his
that was happening in North America too,
so that you could, you're adopting a 30-year-old man, but now he can inherit your stuff because he's your kid, even though he's not your kid.
Well, in Canada, there was a couple that did that. And then when they were like in their 70s and 80s, when like gay marriage was legalized, and they went to the court to like dissolve the adoption so that they could get married, because that was what you would just do, because otherwise there was no saying that like like a family member couldn't come in and just completely destroy your partner's life.
I have friends who are single, no kids, but they live with their also single parent sibling, and they're the one who has a great job with good benefits, but they can't put their brother and their kids on their benefits, even though they all live in the same house, and
they act as a family unit.
He's being a stay-at-home dad, and he's helping out with stuff in the house so that she can do her thing. I mean, maybe he's not. I don't know, but
private life is not important for this.
The point is, she should be able to. That's her household. She should be able to look after her household, just like anybody else at work looks after their household.
I feel like perhaps like a household registry rather than a family registry might be the actual way to deal with this, right? Where like you move into a place and then in your neighborhood you would then register as a household, and that would be like a legal basis for that. This is a family, as it were, But listen, we're not lawmakers. But we do like to rant, don't we? We do like to get on our shit.
Job benefits do need to be able to cover the people that need to be covered for whatever household unit you have. And same thing with laws. And so whenever these things are restrictive, it affects a lot of people. It's not just like, oh, this one-off family that's weird. No, like everyone is very unique with their needs.
Yeah.
And so keep it in mind. And it's not, my whole point is it's not even simply just an LGBTQ thing, but it's always nice to highlight when same-sex couples finally do get rights. It's great.
Yeah.
I just always wish it extends to, for instance,
like in America, a poly relationship or something. Like
disability people not being able to get married because their benefits get cut off. Like these are things like we all don't have equality until things like that get fixed. Like it's very important that stuff like that gets fixed.
Because like getting married makes you somehow no longer disabled. Am I right?
Yeah, it just cures everything.
It just cures everything. You don't need that wheelchair anymore. You're married. Like, get real. Like, please. Oh. Well, on that fun note, thank you for hanging out with us for another episode of the Newsnas. We'll be back next week with another episode, because we have new episodes every Monday for the past, how many years?
Like 5,
Nearly
6? We're almost
Nearly
6 now. Oh, yeah.
That's right, because this month is our 6-year anniversary. Hey yo, we've been around for a while.
Pre-pandemic.
We pre-pandemic indeed. Anyway, we hope you had a fantastic listen, hanging out with us wherever you found us. May it be a podcast on where podcasts can be found, or may it be on YouTube, where we are in video. Where if you are here, please like and subscribe, as we are supposed to tell you. And but it might also be on our website, certifiednoonas.com, where you can listen to every single episode we've ever done, and you also have links to any relevant things that require links and time codes to what we talk about if you're looking for that. If you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to join the Certified Found family. They're a found family on the web. We love them. They're the best. Hard kisses floating to you in there. We get little extra mini episodes, movie night, good times. We love the found family. They're the best. Anyway, we hope you had a great week. Stay safe, as always, because we're rocketing into flu season, and COVID season has been here for 4 years, baby, and it just keeps going. So wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.